Hi, I'm Michael. I'm a compulsive eater. I weigh and measure 3 meals a day off the gray sheet. I write them down in my cool new gray sheet journal. It's pink and it has cactuses on it, cacti on it. I love it. And I call them into my sponsor. I eat everything that I commit, no matter what. I don't eat anything else, no matter what. Abstinence is the most important thing in my life, and I'm so grateful that I can say that honestly today. My abstinence date is 11/13/19, and I am very grateful to be doing this today. I would like to just briefly recognize the anxiety I feel out loud so that it can evaporate. Um, when I have 113 days today, and when I got texted to do this, my first response was, "Oh, they've texted the wrong person." um, my last day one, they like, nope, they meant to text somebody else. This can't be right. Um, because I mean, really, like, I I have so much respect for this disease, and the pain of being in the food is still really visceral for me. I guess just very, very briefly, I'll tell you, I came into Gray Sheet for the first time in 2006. And when I got almost 90 days, and when I went back out, just immediately thought, oh no, I've made such a huge mistake. And it took until 2014 for me to get back. And like that's kind of what happens, normally for me. And I came back in 2014, and then when I made the decision to make independent food choices, it took until 2019 for me to come back, and that's like kind of normal, for me. So when I came back in 2019, just with my history, it's kind of abnormal. I think that I had day one after day one after day one when I came back in, and obviously, like, something was different because I was having different results. But I'll tell you what I was doing in there, what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. Very briefly, I'll try to. What it was like is I. Um, I don't think I was completely aware of this at the time, but like, I built a little fence around some stuff inside of me, and I said, "No, Gray Sheet, you can't have this." And I really don't think I was completely aware of that, at least completely consciously aware of that at the time. But I was definitely not completely honest, open-minded, or willing about 100% of myself when it comes to my recovery around food. When I came back, to the best of my awareness, as I got away. Now, when I came back, I did eat. I have eaten only Gray Sheet food since I've been back, and as the sugars got further into the distance chronologically, and the carbs and all that stuff, the clarity came back mentally. But like, I would forget something at home, and the talk would start. you know the disease would start in my head, and it would say, if you call your sponsor and tell him that you left that cooked vegetable at home, he's going to be so disappointed in you. He's going to know what a bad little gray sheeter you are, and that you really don't care about this as much as you should. So you just go to the store and you get a different gray sheet vegetable, and you just swap it, and you're still abstinent, and that's just fine, and everybody will like you. And I put that at a higher value. That had a higher price to me than being honest. And in the moment, I bought it. And like, before I was done eating, I knew that I wasn't abstinent, and and so I would make the phone call and I would go back to day one and I'd say, okay, I can't do that again. I can't do that again. I'm going to not do that. But I will not do that, and it would happen again and it would happen again. And I would hide something and I would lie about something and I would, but I was relying on me to make the change, to make a behavioral change. And I kept making independent food choices. I was doing the same thing and I was expecting different results. And what I was doing, what my program looked like is I was doing like maybe 1 or 2 Zoom meetings a week. And I was calling my sponsor every day and committing my food. And I was weighing my food 3 times a day. And then I was going on about the rest of my life kind of as normal. And I heard the stuff that you guys were talking about, in the meetings. And I maybe made a couple phone calls a week, and let's get honest, I would pray to get an answering machine. And if I got an answering machine, I would hang up and I would say, well, I tried, I made my call, good enough. And that was it, and that was the effort that I was putting in. And, and the attitude I had was like, where's my abstinence? Where's my abstinence? And that's not good enough, And I was thinking, I weigh and measure my food no matter what, kind of, sort of, almost all the time. At least I tell people that. And, that's honestly where I was. And so basically I felt like I was just kind of beating my head against this brick wall, expecting the wall to move or expecting the wall to change to the shape of my head. And that's not how things work, but I'm an addict and I have a disease, and that was the amount of clarity that I had. And, I kept showing up, and thankfully, I so thank my higher power that for whatever reason, I didn't run. I didn't, scram like I have every other time. And I stuck around until one day I was in a Zoom meeting and I heard somebody say, she said, finally, she was qualifying and she was telling my story. And I had said my day count in that meeting at the beginning, and it was a lie because I had made an independent food choice 2 days before. And I knew it was a lie, but it was the highest day count that I'd had since I'd been back. And I didn't want to give it up. And I was like, I just promise I'll never do this again, and I can keep my day count, and that's more important. And I know that's crap. And and she was qualifying. She was telling my story about being a sneak and a liar. And I felt so exposed. And she said, finally, somebody said to me, we're all doing this no matter what. What are you doing? And I just started crying, and and it just suddenly became clear, it's not just no matter what on the scale, it's no matter what in my heart, it's no matter what in every area of my life. And it just felt like the curtains came down, and I could see for that moment. And it was my head split open. It the wall wasn't going to move. It was me. And for whatever reason, it all just came inside. And I called my sponsor and I said, I just said, I have to get honest. I have to, get honest. I have to do this. And he said, yeah, you really do. Cause what you're doing is not, it's not going to cut it. You gotta make the phone calls. You gotta go to, 90 and 90. You gotta do this thing, or you're just going to keep doing what you're doing. And so, it became, it was an education. And there wasn't it's not like there's a checklist of things that I do every day. I have to I have to pay attention. And it all starts with my attitude. And, that's what I can control. I can control my attitude, and I can plan, prepare, and protect my food so that I can make sure that that's in order. And, like I said earlier, I can be honest, I can be open-minded, and I can be willing. And I'm really starting to see how interconnected those 3 things are. Like I have to get honest about everything. Like when I have a thought, like when I have a thought about food, like I pick up the phone, I call, thank you, 5 minutes. I call, I text. There have been days where like I was sitting down and I am going to get voicemail after voicemail after voicemail until I get a gray sheeter on the phone, because I don't know what's going to happen if I stand up. Like that's where I am emotionally. And if that's what this, no matter what moment takes, that's what it takes. And I didn't eat. And that's not pretty. And I'm a blubbering mess when somebody answers the phone, but like my abstinence is worth not looking pretty right then. And I'm okay with that. I have to be open-minded. And that means, there is no, yeah, but there is no, but I don't wanna. Like, I can decide to work on keeping a positive mental attitude. And, the third step, like I have to make that real. Like, it's not just words, and that it ties in completely with willingness, like they all just start to thread together if I'm actually like trying to like walk this through my life. And it's a lot of, not knowing what to do and talking to people all the time. And like, there are so many tools. Like I have an hour commute each way to work. And so I just started listening to that amazing YouTube channel back and forth to work. And I get like today, like I got to see, like, it was so cool at this 10-minute introduction with everybody. It's so amazing. I got to see all these faces of people I've heard on the YouTube channel that I haven't seen. It's so cool. And, like there's all these things that, that I can do. And the Big Book is such an incredible tool. I wrote like pages XXVII to XXIX in the doctor's opinion, pages 30 to 32, pages 60 to 62, and pages 84 through 88. Like that's just a part of what I do every day. And because it talks to my disease, and like, that's where the solution is. I mean, that's where our program comes from. And for me, like, that's incredibly valuable. Like I have to go to the source, because that's where my answer comes from. And making my 11th step, trying to connect with my higher, not trying, but like making that connection and showing up every day, every morning, and just trying to like exist in that awareness with my higher power, not trying to figure it out, and just hanging out, and then like feeling that connection through you guys. There are days where I make 10 or 12 phone calls a day, like and there are some days where I don't have to, but it's like I try to pay attention to what I need in a given day, because this is one day at a time. Every day is going to be different. I can't, think about this like some kind of rote thing that I get. I got to pay attention to, where I am, like take my temperature. I honestly used to look at this like a chore, and it was hard. And, with any sort of proper perspective, like this, like what is asked of me, 1 minute, thank you. Like the stuff I have to do to stay abstinent is like such little work compared to like the toll it takes for me to live in the food. And I'm so immensely grateful. My last day one, you bet, I really hope so. And I am just going to keep praying and moving my feet as much as it takes. I really hope to ensure that that's the case. And, the book says, trudge the road of happy destiny. And trudge sounds like a gross word, but I looked it up and it says to walk with purpose. And I love that. So I'm going to continue to walk with purpose with you guys, no matter what. Thank you so much for asking me to do this. I love you guys and I love my life. That's all.